Okay, here we go. One last ride, one last ride. Just like Fast and Furious. It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We're almost home, Jacques. We just have one more rally to go. Let's just try and get through this without any major crashes. And then I can move on to other games for a little while, probably. But I'll probably play a bunch of this. Some people have told me that they'll listen to my runs like a podcast. And I'm like, dude, maybe I should start a podcast. We'll call it Rally Racing and Ranting Revelry. And I just play this game and I talk about whatever comes to mind. I even have a little list of subjects to talk about here next to the screen in case I run out of banter material. But right now, most of my brain cells are dedicated to keeping me alive and stuff. Keeping my respiratory system functional, keeping my heart beating. Can you feel my heart beating? Do you understand? Do you feel the same? Am I only dreaming? Or is this burning? How do they make eternal flames work? Do they just constantly pump gas into it? I guess that's how it works. But it's like 24/7, you know? I don't know. I wonder if well, I mean, it's gonna happen eventually, right? Like, natural gas is a finite resource. We can't have literally eternal flames cannot be eternal. Like, it's impossible. Because natural gas is a finite resource. Although I guess, like, you know, we have synthetic fuels. So maybe if we get to those before the natural stuff runs out that they're pumping into these eternal flames, like the one on, like, I don't know, JFK's grave or whatever, I guess it'll be okay. I mean, we call them eternal. We all know that they're not eternal. Nothing is eternal, really. Look at me getting all philosophical and stuff on this last run. Oh, please. Okay, well, I'm back, and I think I'm gonna have to restart because my mother knocked on my door to bring me downstairs to lunch, which, on the one hand, like, during a recording session is really a frustrating thing to happen, but, like, how often can an adult say, hey, I had to interrupt something completely optional in my life in order to get free food? That's usually a good thing. So I'm just gonna not look a gift horse in the mouth and just take them the food. And we'll just start again here on Mount Asama. Or is it Haruna? I don't know. Unfortunately, I can't even remember what the hell I was talking about because it was like an hour ago that I stopped playing. Let's see, I have my banter subjects. I guess I could just go straight into the list of banter subjects. The first one is that I have a serious bone to pick with cats as an entire species. As an entire species. Which I know will probably get me on some, like, hit lists because people, like, human beings are just... We gotta get over cats. Okay? Like, we don't need to die defending cats, okay? Do you think they would die defending us? No. No. Right? The moment you die, your cat is eating your body and then, like, sneaking out the cat door to, like, go and roam the streets. And I think you need to start accepting that your cats don't love you. I'm sorry. I would be biased against cats even if I wasn't deathly allergic to them. Not deathly allergic, but, like, I can't really hang out with them. But, like, they don't seem like particularly pleasant pets to have around. Like, I think they are cute to look at. especially in their kitten phase. But eventually you realize that this creature has like absolutely no sympathy for you. Like they really just, you're just a machine to them. And that's fine. You know what? People treat me that way all the time. And I have to keep dealing with them. But like, they pay me money. Whereas with a cat, I have to basically pay money just to keep that thing alive. So, you know, several reasons I don't want to own a cat. Also for the sake of my sinuses, that's a big one. This has been just the worst month in terms of stress levels, between a bunch of stuff that I don't, you know, I'm not going to get into on the internet, but also like just trying to get to the gym and train for my martial arts, which like I know I haven't uploaded about in a long time, but I am still training. I just haven't been recording. I just haven't been recording it happening. But you know, trying to get that done is, it's like I have to have some kind of, it's like I have to have a part-time job on top of everything else just to feel like I'm working hard enough to hang with these like absolutely hardcore people who do this. Like no one, there's no rec league boxing at your local, you know, community center. Right? Like if you're doing a martial arts, it's like either you're doing it hardcore or you're just like, people think you're a freaking casual. Which, okay, fine, I am a casual, but like, you don't have to say it so insultingly. I mean, you think that like, what, the professional squash players are all like looking at the 50-year-olds coming down to into the local courts and just scorning them constantly? I don't think so. If anything, they're probably like, oh good, you know, more people to advertise the equipment that I'm sponsored. You know? Otherwise, I'm not gonna make any money because these equipment manufacturers that like pay all my bills won't have a product to sell. Instead, for some reason, the martial arts community, you know, we all just look at people who don't do this and who aren't obsessed with it every freaking waking moment of their lives and dismiss them as people who are just, you know, undedicated or something. It really happens. You know, most of us have lives, guys. Like, come on. I have a job. I have things to do. Like, this isn't the only thing I can be doing. Okay, so granted, could I be, like, spending time training instead of playing Art of Rally? Okay, maybe. But I'm not a professional fighter. I'm not getting paid for this. It's the same thing as owning a cat, right? It's like, okay, you guys are getting paid. At least the people who see me as just a service machine pay me. Owning a cat is a hobby in and of itself. I'm surprised when I hear that like my gym mates have pets. So I'm like, how do you afford both this and a tiny tiger who lives in your house? I'm not really one to judge. I really do want like a little dog, but at least the dog is grateful. The dog, you walk into the room and it's just, that's like, it's like it looks at you like you're, the sun shines out of your ass. You need to get yourself a girl that looks at you the way a dog looks at you. Like you're just the meaning in its life. Because man, those things are great. I get the feeling sometimes that like cats actively hate their owners. I get sometimes the feeling that Jacques actively hates me, but Jacques is a virtual card made of ones and zeros, ultimately. I mean, although, you know, with the way that AI is going, holy crap. Eventually, I feel like we're gonna end up with computerized girlfriends really soon. I mean, people are already like using AI to just make porn. Sometimes porn of like real people, which is just such a violation, but they're already doing it. Just a bunch of lonely guys using AI to substitute for their lack of emotional anything, right? It's crazy. It's sad, too. I mean, where are we at? Okay, good. That's exactly where we want to be, that the only repairs we would need to make is cleaning up the car a little bit. You know, just drive through the little car washes. Man, I remember how awesome car washes were as a kid. Some kids, they hate them. It's like, it's really scary. Oh, I loved the car wash as a kid. I still have a little bit of that in me every time I go into like drive my car into a car wash and like the little wipers come down. Oh, one of the little joys in life, for serious. If I could like have like a first person view of inside the car, and then I could just there's just like a little drive-through car wash in this game. I mean, there's those little gates that you do in the free roam mode, which, if you're watching this, you probably know what I'm talking about. And those are cool, but I don't think it quite works that way. I wish you could, I wish instead of those little gates, you had entire small buildings with the little wiper blades and soap spray thingies, the spray nozzles that coat your car in suds, and then wipe it all off with these motorized squeegees. There is no, by the way, there is no cleaning device more satisfying to use than a squeegee. Love those stupid things. I don't know, there's just, well, no, okay, sorry, I'm wrong. The most satisfying device to use for cleaning is by far the power washer. Like, the ones in all those ASMR or whatever the hell videos that you just watch slowly cut streaks out of grime on dirty objects so that half of the object is spotless and the other one is completely filthy, and there's just this perfectly defined line, almost as if drawn with a pencil, indicating the boundary, right? Those look incredibly fun to use, but unfortunately, they look really expensive, and I've never used one. But you know what? If you are one of the privileged few that have, or you know, by God, might even own one, then man, I don't understand how you could possibly... I would clean dishes with that thing if I had one of those. Oh my God. You know, that happened a bunch of times in practice. And I knew it would happen several seconds before it actually happened. But did I do anything about it? No. No. You crazy? That would require skill, which I have none of in anything. It's fine. I'm just gonna drive through the night. Like this is a 90s anime, 90s car anime. When I was getting really into cars, I tried to watch that anime. And you know what? I only got through a few episodes before I realized I wasn't into cars enough to just watch these people with their weirdly drawn faces racing cars down a mountain, while one of them like pretends that what he's really there for is delivering tofu, and then for some reason his dad is like the one pressuring him into making like doing illegal drag racing. It's like, Dad, I want to go do my job, my part-time job. It's like, no, not until you illegally street race these hooligans. Show them what for. I know that's what all of this these stages are based off of. But I am definitely not here to deliver tofu. I'm here to banter it up and finish this in the name of France, I guess. I don't know. In the name of orangutans last week. That was fun. But I think, you know, part of this is, I mean, I'm gonna miss this competition, but I think I'm also kind of ready to move on with my life. Keep playing this game, keep being part of the community, but you know, these competitions, man, like, I got into this game by going into free roam mode and just like putting a podcast on. And that was how I played the game for the first like 3 weeks. Just listen to podcasts. I don't even know if I listen to podcasts anymore, you know? I have been reading more books though. Ah, damn it, my nose itches. Alright, this is the true challenge. Can you get through the stage while your nose itches? Okay, I've got a straightaway here. I can scratch. Ah. I don't know if those are sheep. They look kind of like sheep. Why they're out at night instead of like inside of a barn, I don't know. But here's the hay bales that they were gonna feed to the sheep. Instead, they're literal chicanery here on the course for us. Japan. Not doing great. I'm doing okay in real life, not doing great in the race, but that's fine. Jacques is like, whoa, why are you doing this to me? We're almost there. The next game after this competition is done, my gaming time is gonna finally go into some of those like computer RPGs that I like, with all the little dialogue choices and the character builders, right? Every time I start a new one of those, I always play the same kind of character, which is like a warrior who's like lawful good. Like the most generic fantasy hero you can think of. Heavy armor, sword and shield. Stand up for truth and justice, right? But I feel like, okay, right? Like if a game cannot deliver a fun experience with that, right? The most generic fantasy character ever. What makes you think that the experience has like, you know, a murderous rogue who's like only in it for themselves? What makes you think that experience is gonna be any better written? Because like 90% of the choices in those games are just like, here's the choice where you're a paragon of justice and fortitude, and here's the choice where you're just an absolute asshole for no reason. Where's the choice where I can be like a professional but ruthless killer, you know? Just like, I'm polite, I'm effective, but I also will just do the job given to me. No, it's always like, if you want to be an asshole, you also have to just call the person begging for their life a weakling before you murder their ass. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm about to end your life, but I'm gonna sit here and pretend I'm better than you. I just have a job. I think the reason that I go for the knight in shining armor type is because, and I don't know about you, right? But like, I always played those games, at least the first playthrough, I always play them the way that I feel like I would play them if I were in the shoes of the character, you know? And I know that sounds like I'm humble bragging, like I'm almost such a good person. I'm not. I'm not a good person, but I'm just saying, like, if I was given the choice between, like, helping grandma across the street or, like, robbing her in broad daylight, take her money, I feel like even if I could take an old lady's money, I probably wouldn't. Unless that lady was, I don't know, Elon Musk's wife or something, then I think she wouldn't really miss it. I think she could just, like, dial a single number and probably get money delivered to her more than I would earn in an entire lifetime. With money like that, I could own a cat and practice a hobby. Just imagine the possibilities. Imagine having two things in your life. Oh boy, okay, this is the rain stage. This is where I've got to be real careful. I'm just gonna kind of slowly drive, like I have on every other rain stage. Gonna clip the hay bale and not worry about it. I used to wonder as a kid why rain made traffic worse. As an adult, I realized the obvious answer is the true answer. Just like, people have to drive slower, or you're gonna end up in an accident. At least in this country, we don't have to deal with black ice. Which, of course, reminds me of the... What is it? Key and Peele? Key and Peele black ice skit? Oh, you really gotta watch out for that black ice. But, like, it sucks that, you know, in a few more years, with all of this, like, Zoom technology, now everyone can just, like, hold classes at home. Like, weather days, where you take the day off from school because of the weather, those are soon to be a thing of the past, and it sucks. Like, I mean, if you want to, like, preserve the experience, all you have to do is just extend the school year by, like, you know, 2 or 3 days, and then every day, just, like, pick out of a hat whether or not, like, a 1 in 100 chance of, like, of just calling the day off for everyone, teachers included, right? So you'll have the same number of school days in a year. I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, I would just abolish homework, but I would extend the school year so that you only had like a month of summer vacation, and then school just kind of feels like a job, you know, which it basically is. It's like no one, like very few professions you have to take your work home with you. And I don't really like them, even though I'm like signing up for one by becoming a teacher. But like when I was a bus driver, I didn't have to bring my work home with me. Once I was home, I was home. I don't have anything to worry about anymore. Except for, you know, death. Whee! That's fun. Isn't that what most people do? They just they just sit at home and like worry about death. Like they just worry about their mortality. Oh jeez. I mean, look, like, all of us, we maybe get, like, 30 years of relevance, right? We all live, I mean, hopefully. Let's say you live about 80 years, right? Only the middle 30 of those are you actually part of the demographic that's kind of running the world, right? From when you're about, I don't know, late 30s to, like, 70. Those are the only time that your opinions matter. Which is why we're all just kind of sitting around waiting for the boomers to retire and get too old to do anything. I hated on the boomers last video, and I will continue to hate on the boomers. Just like, freaking stop voting already. You're not contributing to the economy anymore. You're all on pensions. They're all on pensions. They're all, like, quite literally, like, burdens onto the society, like, economically, right? It's the rest of you, us taking care of you guys, and then what do? You continue to, like, vote in elections that, like, give us, like, less power, and like, when's the last time you heard of a millennial buying a house? Right? Who wasn't also, like, one of the Forbes top 40 under 40. It's not happening anymore. Because of the boomers. Freaking boomers. Your 30 years of relevancy is over. It was over a long time ago, and yet you're still... God, just ranting at the boomers. At the 0 boomers who are watching this video. Well, that's good, actually. I'm not actually, like, coming after any individual boomer. I'm just coming after them as a group. You know, like the way they come after people like me as a group. I am the one trans immigrant friend that they will use as an excuse to justify their atrocities against other trans immigrants. It's like, oh, I'm not saying I hate people like this, I'm some of my best friends. Like, there's this one girl who comes and goes to my church group, and she's wonderful, and I like her a lot, but you know, I just don't want her being gay in front of the kids. Shut up, dude. I only brought you pastries during the bake sale because, like, your fat ass is too old to get out of your wheelchair to come buy them yourself. Sorry. I'm kidding. I don't have any boomer friends. Not yet. Oh man, I have another bone to pick with, like, martial arts gatekeepers, right? Like, people who are really experienced in martial arts will start saying things like, oh, it's a lifelong process. It's all of the struggles in life are also just like struggles in the martial arts. You have to fight your way through difficult times, and you know, you have to adapt your strategy to what other people are doing. It's you know, battle. Have you ever read The Art of War? It's applicable to both martial arts and the business place. I'm like, you know, yeah, everything sounds like life. Like, everything is an allegory for life if you make it your entire life. If you've been doing it for your entire life, of course you think it's life is just a reflection of that thing, because your life is just a reflection of that thing. You know? People who have been playing chess for their whole lives will be like, oh, life is like a chess game, you know, you have to always think about your strategies, and there's a middle game and an end game, and blah blah blah. And then people who have been like playing tennis their whole life, it's gonna be like, oh, life is like a game of tennis. There's always just a back and forth, and you're constantly having to... Yeah, like, look, everything that's worth doing, that you could spend many years achieving mastery, you're gonna come up with some freaking allegory for how it's big, like life is just a reflection of that thing. Okay? I read a book when I was a teenager called How Life Imitates Chess. I think it was by Kasparov, right? You know, Grandmaster Kasparov. And at the time, I thought it was ever so insightful. Now I'm like, dude, everything you're saying is obvious. Because it applies to everything, including chess. You know, none of us are special. That's the real lesson. Anyway. Alright, that's my bone to pick with people who... with my friends and teammates that I actively enjoy their company. Every, like, discipline has its own, like, subculture. And everyone in that subculture starts thinking that that thing is like an allegory for the entire world. It's like, yeah, it's your entire world. That's why you think it's an allegory for the entire world. Okay, but not everyone is into freaking, like, candlestick making. Not everyone is into, like, thinking about which freaking essential oils you have to mix in with, like, paraffin to create the best candles. And by the way, scented candles, how many of those do you need to, like, actually make a room smell not shit? Because I went to IKEA the other day, like the only IKEA in the country, and I bought, you know, a pretty big scented candle. I have yet to smell it when I'm not, like, sticking my nose directly into the top. There has to be, I mean, I'm sure there's a formula on the scented candle subreddit of, like, how to calculate how big your room is, and then how many candles you need to keep burning for how long in order to make your room smell like the thing that your candle is made of with this intensity. And that's all down into one, like, formula. And then, with that as a baseline, they rate candles, like, based on their efficiency. It's like, well, this candle has a 0.7 standard beds. And what you're like, oh, what is a bed? It's like, oh, it's the strength of a single candle from Bed Bath and Beyond. We just kind of keep it as a we keep it as a unit. As a standardized unit. So, you know, if a candle is 2 beds, then it's like twice as powerful as a single candle from Bed Bath and Beyond. That's exactly the kind of thing that they would do, and you know it, right? I use a scented candle in my car right now because it's just filling up with smoke. I bet there are entire subcultures, like, based on... Oh my god, are you serious? Like, I'm entirely certain there are subcultures based on, like, what lotion to use. In fact, I don't even need to check, because there's, like, I know that there's a skincare subreddit where they all compare all of these people just, like, sit around comparing their obscure skincare routines, and they each have, like, a thing that they do in the morning and a thing that they do in the afternoon, and there's an entire faction that, like, militarily, or vehemently advocates for the addition of a mid-afternoon treatment cycle. I'm pretty sure XKCD already did this joke, but it's true. It's true. And I think I'm just, like, railing at people who gatekeep martial arts, because, like, my stupid subculture right now is martial arts. Dude, come on! I hate this car! I'm so ready to not have to drive it anymore. No other car flips like that. None of them do. How is it that, like, your wheelbase looks so wide and yet you, like, flip over every freaking time we, like, turn? I'm cheesed right now. I'm legitimately cheesed at a stupid car that doesn't even exist. I mean, the car it's based on exists, but I'm pretty sure it did not tumble over end over end as often as this one does. When this rally is over and I send this into the mechanics, I'll just be like, just carve my name somewhere into the upholstery. Because I have put in enough time behind the seat of this thing. This has been a good competition. I've met a good community. I've met a lot of, like, fun, interesting people. I've represented a country that I've never been to. I donated to save orangutans. I'm ready to kind of just... I'm ready to call it quits in this car. I'm ready to move on to something else. I said that, you know, I said that when I was getting finished with high school, and then, you know, now I look back and kind of wish I could go back to my high school days, if only so I could tell myself to shut the hell up for once. Everyone has something that they would say to their teenage self. Whether it's, well, I mean, the logical people are like, well, invest in this company because now I know that it's going to do well. Just, of course, such a cop-out to that answer, that question. Mine is just shut up. I'm like, just shut up. Like, listen to people for just a little while, because other people know things that you don't. But I wouldn't have listened, is the thing. I wouldn't have listened to me. Because I'm a very different person than I was then. And I think I'm a very different person than I was when I started this competition. At least I have a nice little livery out of it I can always use when I play this game again. As if I'm ever going to drive this freaking thing again. I heard there's some lady, like, driving around in this thing, and they have, like, top 10 world record times on some of the stages. You go, girl, first off, but also... why? You know? Why? What's the point of it all? For fun, obviously. I know that's the answer. That's basically the answer of why we do anything in life. We're all just trying to have fun until we die.